What's up, YouTube? This is FitzBro, and this is my civilization overview for the Byzantines, one of the newest civilizations for Age of Empires 4. And I'll tell you, this might be one of the most complicated civs yet, but I'm going to break it down. I'm going to make it super easy for you. We're starting here at the beginning of the game in the Dark Age, just like you might expect to start, and I'll be talking through the mechanics. We'll go through every single unit, every tech, every building. They would talk about the unique systems such as the aqueduct, the cisterns, as well as go through all of the landmarks. And at the end of the video, I will do an age up guide for you where we talk about the different options you might have. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment, it helps me out, and I'll be making build orders, which will be available in my Discord. Link down in the description. You can find those build orders in the respective channels. I have channels for all of the civilizations. And as I get to it, I will be adding build orders for each of them. Okay, without further ado, let's get into the Byzantines. So starting off here, what do you need to know? So there's a few unique mechanics that you will really want to understand. So the Byzantines, they construct these aqueducts and cisterns, and they provide bonuses to your civilization. Now they cost stone, and you might be thinking, well, I'm not gonna be gathering stone super early on. But wait, the Byzantines, they get stone from building buildings. So let me show you the tech tree here just a little bit so you'll see the aqueduct cisterns and aqueducts field stones. Gather stone from every building constructed. Building size determines the amount of stone. So you're going to get a little bit of stone when you build, and then you're going to use it to build your cisterns and aqueducts. Okay, so let me show you here. Like first I'll plop down a house, and you'll see I do have infinite resources, but you'll see above the house a little +8 stone. Likewise, if I build a little more expensive building, right? A house is 50 wood, 150 wood for a barracks. You'll see, more than +8 stone, you get +18 stone. So the more expensive the building, the more stone you're going to get back from it, and you're going to use that to build yourself this aqueduct and cistern system. So the cistern starts off, your very first one cost 50 stone. Now, this will scale with each one that you build. There's up to 5 different levels of cisterns. So I'll build my first cistern, and then the next one will be 100 stone, and then 150 stone, and etc. So I'll go ahead and I'll plop one down here right now. I've got in a jiffy, so we instantly build, and boom, you can see I actually even get +8 stone from building the cistern. You can see the next one now costs 100. Now what does that cistern do? Well, it's going to improve the gather rate of your villagers by 5, 10, 15, 20, up to 25%. Depending on the network level. So you see how it says 1 right now? If you get that up to 5, that's going to give you the max bonus. And we'll do that by connecting our cisterns here in just a moment. At the cistern, it generates influence that boosts production, research, or defense. And you can activate the Architoid defense to briefly arm your villagers. So that's going to be on there. Connect cisterns with aqueducts to enhance their influence and villager gather rate aura. Cistern costs increase the more cisterns are built. Okay, so you can see the initial one. You've got this little square, right? You see that little influence? Now that is going to be what is influenced by your little toggles here on the building. So by default, military production rate increase. So you can see it would take me right now. Oh, let's see, let's turn this off so you can just see it. Okay, there you go. It would take 14 seconds for me to train a Le Matinee. Okay, so I'll train that up. It'll start going. But if I toggle that off, so I'll go to the research rate increase instead. Now look here, it's going to take 17 seconds, and that will scale the more water I get inside of these cisterns. So you've got different toggles. I find that I'm usually leaving mine on conscripto, which is military production increase. And then if I've got like a blacksmith or a university or a tech I'm just really trying to get out, or maybe some ecotechs, maybe wheelbarrow, I'll use dialectus, which will give you the research rate increase. And then if you've got buildings being sieged down or damaged, you can turn on the defense one, the Praesidium. Okay, so those are the 3 different toggles. And then there's this activatable Architoid defense, which arms your villagers with weapons. So you can see these guys, see their typical stats, right? And then if I activate that, now I take a look at them, all of their stats have gone up. So increased armor and damage. And that's going to be, so if you want to fight with your villagers, and I'm sure it's going to make some really fun defensive situations. But those are pretty much the 3 toggles you have at the cistern, and then the activatable defense mechanism you can use, which has a cooldown on it. Now, let's let's pump this bad boy up. Now you already see my villagers are glowing. Why are they glowing? Well, they get increased gathering rate when they are irrigated by a cistern. So they're within the aura of this. You see, I've got that. Now, if I move outside, we'll see that irrigation go down. So you can see my little aura here. And now that my villager is outside of that, this irrigation will wear off. Now, it doesn't say exactly how long, but we'll see it in just a moment. Any moment here, irrigation will come back to him. Meanwhile, I can build my aqueducts. So these things they look like kind of like wall segments, but there you go. See it wore off. It took a few seconds. I'd say that was what, 10, 15, 20 seconds. Somebody write in the comment if you want to back it up for me. So the aqueduct, it's only going to cost 2 stones. So not very expensive, but you'll see here with my cisterns, you know, you can't stack them right on top of each other, right? So I've got to put them outside of this influence, and I can put one here, right? So I'll go ahead and build that one there, and then you've got to connect them, okay? Now remember, that one costs 100 stones. Let's do a little in a jiffy, so it's a little faster. And now it's time to build up my my aqueduct. Now I turned the in a jiffy off so you can see how quickly this thing builds. I wouldn't really build this with more than 1 villager because it's really, really fast. And if you build it too many, they kind of start stacking up. So here we go. We'll set this down here and watch how quickly these things build. It is pretty dang quickly. So if you put too many on here, you'll notice that they kind of stack up and fall behind each other. Okay, so this will slowly connect that up. We'll speed them up a little bit. And then once the heat reaches the end there, you will see that this will connect and this water level will raise to 2. So that 5% bonus that the villagers have, that's going to raise up here in just a moment. Okay, now it's level 2. Now I've got a 10% bonus. Okay, so everything's going to be faster. The research is going to be faster. It's going to be now, or conscripto, right, is going to now go up to 40%. So that's how you build this up. Now, say I want to have this barracks have a conscripto, right, train faster, but maybe I also want to have research speed at the same time. If you build your base wisely, which you're going to have to kind of think about, you SimCity builders, it's really going to pay off with this civ, you can actually get multiple bonuses. So you could get research at the same time, or perhaps you want defense and training at the same time, whatever it might be. Now, do note, the town center does not train faster. We want to make sure of that, but it does not train faster. But essentially, you can build this up to level 5, and you can, it goes crazy if, once you get into these later tiers, right, you're talking about 25% bonus. It might be worth it, if you're way out here gathering from deer or berries, it might be worth it to build a cistern. I've had it where in the mid stages of the game that I build this cistern out towards like a mid gold vein, whatever it might be. Now, do be aware that if this breaks, you lose the level. So if they siege this down, now you can see it's disconnected, and you see the little disconnection thing in that it went down by a level. Now, be very, very careful when you build these up. You need to, you see this little, like, how it has a little cap on the end of it versus this right there has a little cap. That's how you know if it's going to be connected. And it's very easy to accidentally not connect your cisterns. I've done this plenty because you can build there and you think it's done, or you might not see it, but you have to make sure it's got that little point on it when you finish it. So there is a little UI showing you like, hey, this is disconnected, but be aware of that, especially if your enemy has perhaps come in and siege it down. Okay, that's enough about the cisterns. Leave me questions below if you have any. Let's move on and talk about some of the other civilization bonuses. So you might be wondering, we've got a new resource, olive oil, right? So how does that come into play? Well, let's move on up to the next age here, and I'm going to go through the age up guide later, so don't worry about that. So now that we are in the second age, we can build a mercenary house. And look at this thing. It produces mercenary units for the cost of olive oil after purchasing a mercenary contract. 1 contract can be purchased. Unlock another set of mercenaries with plus 50% production speed by placing this building near a trade post. Okay, so I'm going to build a mercenary house here, and I'll send a villager down to this trade post, which I didn't spawn in an enemy, so it's across the map, and then I'll just so you can see it. Okay, so now looking at this mercenary house, you have 3 options. These are going to be the same every single game, okay? So Eastern Mercenary Contract, it unlocks a production of Keshik, Gulam, and Tower Elephant in each age respectively, okay? So if I choose this, I can build Keshik right now in the second age, and the third age, Gulam, Tower Elephants, right? You can go the Western mercenary contract and get longbows, Lenschnekta, and then Streltsy. Or you can go for the Silk Road mercenary contract and get javelin throwers, camel riders, and grenadiers. So that's going to be kind of up to you. I'm sure we'll see a meta kind of evolve with that. And it might kind of depend on the matchup you're playing. And then you might be wondering, well, how do we upgrade these? Well, when you go up to the Castle Age, which I'll just pop down one of our landmarks here right now. When you go up to the Castle Age, let's say I picked, let's go for the elephants, right? We don't have the elephants yet, right? But let's build some houses. We'll get, we'll of course get, oh, I better shut this off because it auto-spawns units. No wonder we're housed. There we go, get some houses for you. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll train up a Golem once this is, oh, I have to get the veteran contract first. So that veteran contract, 100 food, 250 gold, upgrades the hardened mercenaries to veteran. So if I had one of these, they would get upgraded. Notice it doesn't just give you one, by the way, right? 400 olive oil, and I get 2 of these. Now, it comes really, really slowly. I'll show you when you train these mercenaries, because it seems like it's really, really strong. It takes 47 seconds to get Keshik. It's going to take 54 seconds to Golem. Like, that's compared to, you know, your typical units, 18 seconds, 12 seconds, etc., right? Now, you can speed that up, of course, by building it in the influence, what we already have here, of our cistern, but it takes a long time. But I'm going to upgrade that. Now I'm going to have access to the tier 2, so I've got Golems now. And then when I get the elite contract in the next age, see, it's 300 food and 700 gold, it would unlock the tower elephant. And you can't undo it. Once I've selected it, like, these are the mercenaries I have for the entire game. So if you're playing against this Civ, there's no way to tell on the building which contract they have selected. You have to kind of pay attention to what units are coming out. Will kind of influence you. But as far as the trade post goes, there is a way to scout it. So let's go over and look at this. So if you click on the trade post, you can see, why is this so Zugdu and Mercenary War Elephants? So if you're playing against this Civ, you can see, like, this is what they could possibly train if they build close to this, okay? It's kind of like the native trade posts from Age of Empires 3. And so now if I go on here, you can see, look at that. I have access to these other mercenaries, and it'll take a long time to train these. I mean, let's look at this. It'll take 1 minute and 7 seconds to get my war elephant. But, you know, I could decide to build a cistern, and if this was a little closer, maybe, you know, we'll do it for fun here in this tutorial. We'll build it all the way back home. Oh my gosh, it doesn't even understand. I know they upgraded the wall building, but the cisterns. Look at this. Okay, this might be the Guinness World Record of the longest, and we'll do it in a jiffy to get that up a little faster. Okay, but you get my point. You can get another set of mercenaries here, but you need a little map control. In my experience with the mercenaries, I don't think it's great to rush towards these. It takes a long time to get the olive oil needed to train these, and they take a while to train. I think it kind of is more impactful either like mid-game or like later on if you've banked up some olive oil, or if you tech towards olive oil with the landmarks that you choose, which I'll talk about at the end of the video. Okay, so how to get olive oil, you might be wondering. So villagers, let's see, I'll show you in the tech tree here. So olive oil, you collect a unique resource that used to hire mercenary units. Villagers generate plus 50% olive oil when gathering food in berry bushes. Okay, so from berry bushes, and then plus 20% from olive groves, and then 10% from shorefish. So olive groves are your unique farm, by the way. You still get food, but you also get olive oil. So essentially, you're going to be getting olive oil if you're berry gathering. If you are farming, we'll put one villager berry gathering, we'll put one over here to farm, or if you're gathering from shorefish. So those are going to be your options for your olive oil gathering. You can't see it right now because I've kind of got the infinite. Well, you can kind of see it going up right now. Of course, they're in a jiffy, like instantly do it, but you get the idea. Now, this is actually buffed right now because I have the Grand Winery, which increases even more olive from those berry bushes. But that's going to be olive oil in Mercenaries in a nutshell. You choose your contract, you get olive oil from berries, farms, or fishing, and then you can train here, you can upgrade, as well as get an additional set from the trade post. Okay, let's move on now to the core unit roster for this civilization. So I'm going to select my villager here. Let's drop down one of each military building. They have all of your standard stuff, right? Barracks, archery range, siege workshop, etc. So we'll build each of those for you, and we'll talk about the units that you can get there. Okay, so first we've got our barracks. Let's see what we have. We've got our Lamantinae, and then we have our Varangian Guard. So the Lamantinae, it's infantry that's basically your spearmen, is best against cav, can enter shield wall to take reduced ranged damage. So take a look at this. You can go to shield wall, but when in this, you're going to have reduced speed, reduced movement speed, reduced attack speed, but you're going to take less range damage. So watch this. We'll move that up, and now you see the movement speed's changed, but now you're going to take it's going to be minus 50% range damage taken. Now I'm surprised it doesn't like show up here like on the UI. Like I kind of expected to see like the ranged armor show up here. You do see the speed change reflected, but that's going to be the shield wall or spear wall, essentially shield wall versus spear wall. Okay, so there's toggles for those. And then you've got your Varangian Guard. Now the Varangian Guard, it's a tough infantry and good damage. It's your man-at-arms, right? Can use berserking to increase damage for reduced armor. So when I use this, you see my armor goes down, but now I do an additional +6 damage. So if you've got a lot of these and you're kind of swarming, or maybe you're on a raid or whatever it might be, and you want to have a lot of damage output, but risk a little bit of your armor, you can activate this ability. Of course, it does have a cooldown. You can see it's got another 15 seconds left on there. So 30 seconds of that. And another really crazy thing, you can build transport ships. Not on this map, but you could build a transport ship on a water map. So these things are going to be really potent, I think, on maybe an island map or even some hybrid maps maybe have island opportunities or some kind of raid. You could build a bunch of man-at-arms, build yourself a transport ship without a dock. It's hard to scout, right, if you don't see a dock, and then go surprise your enemy on the river or canal or whatever it might be. But kind of a cool thing for them. I really like these. They basically have like, you know, a completely unique infantry roster here as far as what you get from your barracks. Okay, so that's going to be your barracks. Now this is, by the way, I have multi-unit selected, right? I have spearmen. You can actually see I can activate all of these abilities. So that's really, really cool. Okay, let's look at the stable. So stable, you've got your horseman, cataphract, and your scout. So obviously you already know what a horseman or a scout does. This is your light rating, you know, cav. The cataphract, this is now one of the most feared cav units on the battlefield. Let's check out its stats. Expensive cav with high damage and a powerful trample ability that charges through enemies. Has heavy armor and trample deals area damage. Okay, so but they don't have a base charge attack, so there's no typical charge attack. You have to use this ability. They are slow movement speed and they're countered by spearmen and crossbow. So I can hit Q, and you see this little aura here. I can say, okay, charge to here. And now he's going to go ahead and use that ability. And I think it's when he gets it, yeah, when he gets it within range here. So it's kind of like that distance. He will do a trample. And if those were enemy units, would trample through there and do some area damage. You'll see this in action later on in some of my casted games. So don't worry about that. But that area damage, you know, say you've got, I saw someone mentioning like, well, what if I've got like, you know, 5 or 10 cataphracts? You can charge into a group of enemy villagers and boom, do a lot of damage really, really quickly. So a lot of opportunity with that, but you also don't want to charge too far if you want them to be like fighting or maybe move into spearman or whatever it might be. So there'll be some nuance to it, but a really, really cool cav unit there for the Byzantines. So that's going to be their unique cav unit. Its cost, by the way, very expensive. 180 food, 150 stone. Let's turn off in a jiffy so you can see the times here. It takes 29 seconds to train one of these. Now, looking at a few of the unique upgrades here, because I did miss this. I'll make sure I talk about that. For the cataphract, first of all, you can get in the bottom left, horseman damage versus workers increased by +2. So specifically a bonus versus villagers. And then workers killed by your horsemen reward +20 gold. How crazy is that? You can make horsemen get this upgrade, which is very cheap, by the way. You kill a villager, it's going to pay itself back as you get gold for going for raids. Like, talk about, not only you've killed the villager, done economic damage, you've now buffed yourself. You could age up by just raiding villagers. If you kill enough, it'd be crazy, but isn't that nuts? Extra gold for killing villagers if you get this for your horsemen. Now, looking at the other upgrades, you've got numeri, enemy units hit by trample, become vulnerable and receive +20% increased damage for 12 seconds. So that's going to be like kind of an additional buff to your trample ability. Okay. And then that's your typical scout upgrade. For scouts, enhance the torch damage of nearby units. Oh, no, that's unique, right? Yeah, scouts enhance the torch damage of nearby units by 25%. So if you want to have a scout with your army, if you're going to be going after torching down buildings. So pretty cool. As you can see, that is already available. Okay, looking at that last thing for the infantry. For Anglian Guard, increase their move speed by plus 30% when activating Berserking. So they're going to get additional move speed. So you're going to, you know, get these additional attack, additional move speed. They're really going to be crazy units running around the field, slicing and dicing. Okay, let's build our archer range up. Now, by the way, I did just realize some of those training times I told you, realize I do have it under a level 2 cistern right now. So it's going to, those amounts are going to change depending on the level of cistern you have, right? Okay, so now let's talk about the archery range. So with the archery range, let's do it in a jiffy. Okay, now with this archery range, you're going to get archers, you're going to get crossbowmen, and you can get hand cannoners. So nothing unique there. They've already got enough going on in these two buildings. Let's go to our siege workshop. You've got springalds, mangonel, counterweight trebuchets, right? Nothing new for that. Although you can get this. Counterweight trebuchets deal plus 30% damage and engulf the target area with Greek fire. So we'll go to the next age so I can show you that Greek fire here. Okay, and there it is. So I've got a trebuchet. Let's get to the Greek fire and let's go ahead and burn some trees. Here we go, Greek fire on the way. There you go, you can see the little fire there. Now this isn't gonna burn I don't think it'll burn the trees down, but that's going to be a problem for your opponents as far as the fire is concerned. So that's a fun thing for the trebuchets. So some of the coolest trebuchets in the game. And then you've got their Chirosyphon, right? Or Chirosyphon, whatever you want to call it. It's a ram that also shoots fire. So I can't activate it here without an enemy building. But you've seen it in action on the trailer. It costs a little bit of gold, so you can build it in the field as well. 250 wood and 150 gold. So those are going to be your options as far as your siege workshop. And really, those are all of your units. Now, all of your units, but of course, you know, there's the different mercenary combos you can choose from. And then there's some of the landmarks that are going to produce some units as well. Like, for instance, I've gone for an engineering company right now. I can get nested bees for 600 oil. I can get a Hui Pow. I could get a royal cannon. So there's going to be, it feels like they have like every unit. It feels like that. It is limited, but they've got a lot to choose from, that's for sure. Okay, now this is where I want to show you kind of where I think the cistern like technology for research speed kind of shines. So I'll go ahead and connect a cistern over here. Make sure this is under the influence because I don't think it is right now. Yeah, you can see. It is. Well, let's go ahead and build these up. It'll speed it up. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on the research speed. Okay, and we'll turn off in a jiffy. And let's look at some of these university texts, which typically would take a long time to train, right? So a minute and 30 is what you see for biology right now. Okay, so a minute 30, and that's with a level 3 with with level 3 here with Dialectus. If I turn that off now, and we look at this, does it not in fact? Oh, this is a good learning moment. It's individualized, okay? Because I changed research here. As you see, that university is not in this aura. You have to do it over here. And I actually think it's a little confusing. As you see, I just confused myself there. Now, look at that. It goes down to 36 seconds. I mean, that's insane. Think about some of these late game techs. Like, okay, let's get this to level 5 just so you can really see the potential of this. Yeah, let's build a cistern and we'll just do it out to here. I mean, but isn't that crazy how much that sped it up? But it is localized to it's not a global toggle, which it means you can kind of customize your cistern experience for your civilization depending on where you build it. Okay, now let's do in a jiffy so they can build that really, really quickly. There you go. That's gonna be done for you. And is it connected? It is connected. And then this one's gonna be connected in just a moment here. And then you're gonna see, okay, watch this. What it was originally, if I turn that off, right, it was 130. Right, looking at, oh. Right, it's originally 130. Now, this is level 5, this is full. If I turn that on, I can get incendiary arrow in 26 seconds. I mean, coming over here, you know, to get your elite upgrade usually takes a minute. If I do this, it now takes, it takes 17 seconds to upgrade my units to elite. Those are really, really cool abilities, especially in the later games. So the Byzantines, a lot of options of what you can do there. Okay, so looking at the university, it's your typical technologies you're used to seeing. Looking at your mill, same exact thing. Same thing's going to be true for your monastery. Well, my grand winery here's a monastery, but here, I'll build a monastery just to show I'm not lying to you. There you go. And you see, same typical stuff. Now, we talked about, I think, every unit at this point. We've talked about pretty much all the text. We're going to talk about our landmarks here in a moment. Let's look at some final buildings. So at your keep, you have something unique as well. Take a look at this. At the keep, you can get a mangonel emplacement. Adds a defensive mangonel emplacement to this structure. So you can't really see much on the UI, but it adds windows there. But trust me, there's a mangonel here on the keep. So kind of like the Ottomans get their bombard, you get mangonels. I'll go ahead and build you some stone walls, which if you didn't know about all the changes to walls, make sure you go back and watch my season 6 patch notes. The walls have been massively overhauled. I mean, look how easy it is for me to draw that through the trees, and it just builds segments like immediately. And I could connect this easily to ally walls. I mean, look, I can even wall in here. Like, you would never be able to do this before, and I can't really do it right now, but you get my point. You can do a lot more with walls now these days. And let's go ahead and build yourself a stone wall tower. And there you go. Heavy defensive tower that fires a springald. So that's going to still have a springald emplacement. Now let's look at our traditional towers, which they do look different, which is kind of cool. And you can also get a mangonel emplacement on that tower. Okay, so those are going to be all of your buildings, all of your units. Let's get into your age up guide. Let's talk about all of the landmarks. So I'm just going to restart this here so we can go back and talk about what landmarks you can choose from, their unique abilities, and then I'll kind of tell you, how I've been using them when I have been testing them out. Okay, so we're here in the Dark Age. Let's do in a GFE so we can just worry about aging up. Okay, so going into the Second Age, you got two options: the Grand Winery, which is going to be economic, or the Hippodrome, which is going to be military. If you go the Grand Winery route, it acts as a monastery, which is for Age 2. You can't even train monks in the Second Age. But if you're going for a fast castle strat, train your monks like right away, could be a cool thing to do. Nearby villagers gather an addition plus 60 olive oil from berry bushes. So it makes it so you get more olive oil out of those berry bushes in olive groves. So kind of think of it like an Aachen chapel in the way. Relics garrisoned generate olive oil instead of gold. Now that's a big thing. You're going to put relics inside of this thing and it will give you olive oil. So the way that I see it, and it is a mill, so you can use it for a drop-off point, is you kind of want to build this, with about 2 tiles of space between this. So you can fit 2 rows of farms. So you've got if you're building it like this, you have your farms around your town center that'll be influenced, and then you'll have the berries that are influenced, and kind of build your farms around this with mills on the outskirts. You have to get creative on your building. But this is the landmark. If you're wanting to really lean into mercenaries in your build, I think you're going to like this. You're going to plan on grabbing those relics, put them in there. It's going to lend well into a mercenary build, which you'll see a landmark in the Castle Age for that as well. Okay? On the other side, the Imperial Hippodrome. It's kind of like the School of Cavalry for the Byzantines. Acts as a stable, contains the Triumph ability that can be activated with supply points to increase cav melee damage, move speed, and health regeneration. It starts with 30 supply points and then regenerates every 30 seconds. And you get more points by killing enemies. A lot to explain here. Let's show you that one, because I think you can kind of grasp the concept of the winery. I personally find this to be a stronger, if I'm going to play in the early feudal age or go for some kind of rush or Age 2 fighting, because I can immediately train cav. I've got some cool abilities, and I'll show you right now. Okay, so we got some horsemen, right? And now let's look at this ability that we were talking about. This is called Triumph. It consumes the supply points. So down here, you see we have 30 right now. Okay. It increases the damage by 25%, moves speed by 10%, and health regeneration by +2. That is a ton for a horseman. That's already going super fast. And not to mention, maybe you got the upgrade that also gives you gold and additional damage to villagers. So talk about an amazing raid opportunity. So I find it to be really impactful, like mid age 2 to be going on a raid, and then I've got this hotkey, and then I hit V, and suddenly, boom, I'm getting speed, I'm getting regeneration, and I'm raiding underneath town centers, underneath towers, killing villagers, and then I'm running out, and look how much time I have left on this. They're gonna heal up. It's really freaking awesome and really strong. Again, each supply point increases the duration. So I had, what, 31 supply points right now. So you get 1.5 seconds per each one. So like I said, it's kind of like a one-time ability early on, because now look how long it's going to take me to regain 30 supply points. It's going to be a while. Of course, I can earn some back by going out and doing damage, but it's a really, really cool ability with this landmark, and I like it a lot for an aggressive option. So the winery or the hippodrome, that's up to you. Okay, let's look at your options going up into the Castle Age. So for the Castle Age, you've got an economic landmark, Cistern of the First Hill, or the military, Golden Horn Tower. So for the Cistern of the First Hill, it acts as a cistern, no duh. Now, that stone cost does get expensive. I know you get free stone for building infrastructure, but you're not going to be slapping down tons of barracks early on. You're still going to need to either gather stone or use this. You don't need to even build another cistern once they get more expensive, right? Unlocks the Pilgrim Flask ability on non-siege military units. That's going to be your infantry, which can be, or your cav, which can be activated to increase health regen by 25 per second for 10 seconds. Healing. Any of your infantry can heal all over the field. Flask refill every 45 seconds to a maximum of 10 active flask. That is really crazy. You've got healing options for your military. You can go that route, or you can go the Golden Horn Tower. Periodically produce unlocked mercenary units for free. So if I have researched, the ghouls and or elephants or whatever, contract I choose, it's going to periodically give me one of those, or a few of them, and the value is based off of the level of your cistern's influence. So you want to build this near a cistern, and you want to have a level 5 cistern to get the max value out of the unit that is going to produce. For now, let's build yourself the Cistern of the First Hill. I think this will have good economic implications of, getting that next level of buff on your economy, right? Because you got to think about how that's scaling for your villager gather rate. You also now have the Pilgrim Flask ability on your cav. So look at this. Activate to drink, rapidly increasing health by 25 seconds for 10 seconds. You could pair that, of course, with Triumph. Pretty crazy for the cav, right? Or you can turn this on, toggle to automatically drink when health is low. So you can toggle this on, and as you take damage, they will automatically say gulp and drink and heal. So a lot to think about, right? A lot to manage, that's for sure. But you can just turn on auto flasking, that'll help. Maybe you've already got 2 or 3 cisterns up by the time you hit the Castle Age. Now you add this one, you're on your level 4, right? Or maybe it's your 5th one, whatever it's going to be for you. Of course, the other one, the Golden Horn, just over time just generates free mercenaries, right? So age 3, I think if you're going a mercenary route, clearly you want to go the Golden Horn. Maybe you've already got the winery, right? That's going to pair very well. Or maybe you want to go for this Pilgrim Flask to help your military out. I mean, this is a really, really cool ability. I kind of seem like it might be stronger than having the free mercenaries, but the mercenary value over time is going to be good as well. So it's kind of toss-up. Let's look at our age of options for the Imperial Age. Okay, for the Imperial Age, you've got the Palatine School or the Foreign Engineering Company. Both of these are going to be military landmarks. So the Palatine School, here's what that thing looks like. When training Lamantinae, Varangian Guards, or Cataphracts, right? So these are going to be all your unique infantry, your cav, or Sharasaphon. There is a 30% chance to also spawn one at this landmark. So maybe you're spamming units in late game fighting, you're going to get free units along with it. Pretty cool, especially consider how expensive Cataphracts are. You get a free one. That's pretty good. Good savings. On the other hand, Foreign Engineering Company is a very, very, very tempting landmark, and you might want to choose it. Allows production of nested bees, hoi hoi pow, and royal cannons with olive oil. Mercenaries receive various unique techs from their original civilizations. So, with that, you can go through every age and each of them choosing an olive oil and mercenary route, right? You can go with the winery in age 2. You can go into age 3 with going for the Golden Horn Tower, right? Gives you the free mercenaries. And age 4, you could go for this one. And then maybe you've got a lot of, you've got a lot of olive oil saved up. Like I got a ton right now. And you can get Nested Bees. Hoy Pow, 1,000 olive oil, by the way. Royal Cannon. And by this point in the time, you're probably already, farming out here. So you're getting olive oil from all of these farms. And look at this beautiful optimal farms I've built there. But look, I even get stone from building the farms. +8. Isn't that crazy? But that's going to produce olive oil over time. So those are going to be your age-up options. And with that, folks, that is going to be my civilization overview for the Byzantines. Now, of course, there's so much to uncover with all these civilizations. Expect to have individual guides where maybe I just talk about tactics with a specific unit or a specific tech or strategy. And of course, I'm going to make some build orders for this civilization. It's super complicated. I'm going to be looking for the pros and thinking about some great build orders. But let me know what you think you're going to open up with. What landmarks are you going to choose? What strategies might you think up with the Byzantines? I hope you enjoyed the civilization on the overview. Be on the lookout for my next one, as well as my show match I'm going to be featuring this weekend between BC Cutie and Puppy Paw. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.